hi everyone, I'm Manit Sahib. I'm an expert red teamer and social engineer. I'm the former red team lead for the UK Central Bank, the Bank of England, and now I'm the director of global intelligence at Picnic, a company addressing the issue of social engineering. I'm certified by the National Cybersecurity Centre, as well as Her Majesty's ESG check scheme, and I hold a number of private certifications, including OSCP and CREST, and we're here now. Yeah, so when I was at university, there was nothing cybersecurity related. It was a generic computer science degree. Ended up as a developer coming out of university, and I was developing the IBM toolset called Rational. This for version and change control, kind of similar to GitHub. So as a developer there, also supporting it, so providing third line support, realized that with increase of technology such as GitHub, that version control on IBM was kind of dying. So I was like, I need to pivot now. What do I enjoy doing? So I had a brainstorm about that, enjoyed breaking things. So I was like, perfect opportunity for me to start and looking into pen testing. So while still working, I looked at what are the accreditations in the industry. I know CREST came up, OSCP, and there was Tiger Scheme as well. So I was starting to study for OSCP actually, and then I started to do approach interviews and hiring managers. And I was actually laughed out of one interview for doing OSCP because it wasn't a thing in the UK back then. And then I moved in and got certified by the Tiger Scheme at that point because I think CREST, I think it required a bit more knowledge at that time. So I got accredited by the Tiger Scheme, got into a job, moved into consultancy, and there just used my experience and excelled, learning different types of pen testing, kind of just hit the grind there. Then once I was there, I realized that, you know, CREST is the governing body in the UK. Everybody looks for CREST. And that's when I went out and got CREST accredited. Then moved up, shifted into internal. So I was kind of in industry before, or consultancy, and then I shifted into an internal company, Bank of England, where I then moved up as the head of pen testing. Yeah, so working as the head of penetration testing at the Bank of England. Obviously, I won't disclose too much, but in summary, myself and my team, we use offensive techniques to protect the UK's payment systems and contribute to maintaining financial stability. So assessments varied from red team assessments, which are covert, purple team, so joint effort with the defense team, and assurance testing, such as pen testing. And, you know, pen testing could vary from like network, application, Wi-Fi, and also some bespoke ones, which again, I won't disclose. Obviously, with the testing side comes the reporting. So being able to talk about risk and remediations to a variety of stakeholders was key. Reporting is such an important aspect of the overall test because you'll be testing for maybe 4 days and then you have 1 day to report on it, but you want to capture everything in that report to make it clear for the next 5 years that that report is viewed by your client or end user, that you've captured everything that you've done in your test. So your reporting needs to be top quality. And, you know, coming from consultancy background, you get that, you learn that skill pretty quickly. But yes, to aspiring professionals out there, it's not just about testing, it's about showing your work in, showing your results. So now I work as the director of global intelligence at Picnic. So Picnic is a company which is creating a product to address the issue of social engineering attacks. So we can see at the moment, majority of compromises for networks involve that human element or social engineer that human. And the way that it works for an attacker is to go out and do open source intelligence gathering around that individual to then craft a spear phishing campaign to lure them into executing some sort of malware. So what Picnic is doing is looking at that open source intelligence footprint or that digital footprint of that individual and reducing that to reduce the attack surface of the organization and therefore protect organizations from social engineering attacks at scale. Predominantly my role, using my offensive background, is to look at the techniques attackers use, so I know from experience, and also look at new techniques which attackers are using for social engineering, so we can build that attacker mindset into the product. It's so original, that the people on there, it's so organic, the people you find, and you really get, it's different from the other social media platforms where just like, you know, you have their attention for a second. Here, you actually get to speak to them. They listen to you. I know one of the rooms that we ran, which is a break in cybersecurity, had like 1,000 live people on it. And, you know, when you look at that, that's crazy that, you know, 1,000 people across the world live listening to like tips on how to break into cybersecurity. So motivations around founding CyberSec Red Team Ops on Clubhouse was to just give back. Built myself up in the industry. When I was coming into the industry, as I explained my story, I got laughed out of an interview because they deemed me doing the wrong cert. Whereas you look at OSCP, which I was doing at the time, is like global standard. So I had a lot of wrong information, and it wasn't necessarily Googling everything that you could find then. There was not many individuals that were willing to talk about things and, help you, mentor you in a sense at that point. So the motivation behind founding it was to give back and not have people experience the things that I went through, or people, at my level at that time went through. In Clubhouse, we provide maybe like interview tips, CV reviews. You're essentially learning from the experts. We're hiring managers as well, and we've been in those positions. So what kind of things we will look for in an individual. Just giving back, and it's more of an intimate forum where you can actually come up on stage and talk. We don't have a structure. If you're in there, you want to come up on stage, then you're welcome. But it's providing value and giving back. Where I see cybersecurity heading to over the next few years, so systems and technology are becoming more secure. So it's natural evolution, maturity. So you'll see the increase of social engineering attacks. So targeting the human element, those weaknesses of humans, I think it's definitely going to increase. We'll see more weaponization of ransomware. So last year we saw Kaseya ransomware, also Log4j, which is a vulnerability. I do see, weaponization of that. So more ransomware, and also supply chain compromise. So don't know if you're aware, but the SolarWinds attack and the supply chain attack and an impact of that. I think we're going to see more of those. With energy things coming into play at the moment, I won't go political, but with any energy prices rising and stuff like that, you'll see the targeting of SCADA or industrial control systems happening. These are very particular systems that you cannot, go on the internet and start testing. There is no kind of playground to test these systems. So when you're attacking these, or when you're testing against these systems, they are live. So I think it's very difficult for you, for people as an individual, to come into this space, because when they do testing, it's on a live environment. So it's difficult to skill up. Therefore, targeting of them, the impact of it, has a human fatality element. So I definitely see that as a thing. Going away and looking at consumers for a second, I think, with the talk of NFTs, digital currencies, and the metaverse, I do think there's going to be something along those lines for consumers. Where that's going, I don't know. I think social engineering element still comes into play about taking over wallets or currencies or metaverse accounts, avatars, whatever. But when you're in those platforms, the security vulnerabilities that are to come out, you're yet to see. So I became a CREST certified tester because in the UK, CREST is a governing body for penetration testing and red teaming. So having CREST ensures a level of standard for the tester, and also provides assurance to the client that the individual performing the assessment has the right skill for the job. And most importantly, is ethical, right? Because you have your code of conduct. We get asked questions all the time about what is the go-to cert, or what should I get? And one of the things I find is being in the UK is so easy, because I'll just tell them, go and look at CREST. Because CREST is the body, you want to be certified to that level, so that your profile stands out to a potential hiring manager or even client. If you're in the consultancy space, I touched on this before. When I was in consultancy, I went out and got CREST because it looks better on your portfolio to clients. More clients want to deal with you because of that reputation. So if you're in the UK, it's very simple. I always say, go out and get CREST. OSCP, is gold standard across the world. But if you're in the UK, and I know CREST is now expanding to the US from what I've heard, but it is in Australia and Singapore as well. So if you can go out, if you're in those places, CREST is like the one cert you want to go and get. There is a flood of certs in the industry at the moment. You have things such as CEH, EJPT, OSCP, PMPT. And for those countries outside of the UK or outside of CREST regulation, it's so confusing for individuals because they're always putting a career path and saying, I need to get this cert to go here, to get this job, and then look at this cert to get, and it provides so much clarity when you can say to someone that there is one certification you need to go for, and that's CREST. Yeah, so people looking to break into cybersecurity. We talk about this all the time on Clubhouse, but one of the key things is to have something to show in the community. So whether that's your portfolio on GitHub, so you have a repo, a tool that you've developed, or you're doing a bug bounty to show, you're gaining exposure, getting some rewards out of it, or even like Hat the Box ranks. There's so many other places or playgrounds that you can go and test your skills and gain a rank. If you're doing them and you're visible in the community, that is probably the number one thing that you could do. The second is networking. So people say it's not about what you know, but who you know. Whether it's speaking to people on Clubhouse or hiring managers, or whether it's going to conferences. I know CrestCon, which is coming up, so plug that. But conferences, platforms, Twitter. So, there's a load of InfoSec people on Twitter, so go out, follow them. Connect with people you aspire to become. Ask them questions on your mind. I think the day and age of InfoSec people not being willing to help is over. We are now at a place where if you go and ask someone, hey, how do I do this? They'll help you. So connect with them, whether it's LinkedIn, Twitter, going to conferences, whatever it may be, whatever networking event you can do, I would say just go there, take the time out and do that. And lastly, look at certifications. We spoke about certifications that could get you into a job. So look at certifications that have the most bang for buck. And in the UK, I always say, look at CREST. That will get you the job, that will get your foot in the door, and then work on your experience. So the key thing you want to do and to bear in mind with all these things is that you need to gain experience to elevate in cybersecurity. It's always evolving. So the best way to learn is on the job. And to do that, get a certification, go to networking events, and build something of your own. The best way to stay up to date in cybersecurity that I find, I use a platform called Feedly. It's RSS feed, which plugs into different sources such as Twitter, Reddit, and cybersecurity blogs. So essentially, it's one platform you go to with a whole feed of the latest things that are happening. If there's individual things that you want to do, then you can go to Twitter and look for terms such as like red team or blue team or hacking. These are all little terms or keywords that you can put into Feedly. And then for Reddit as well, you can plug Reddit into it. So some forums on Reddit are red team sec, purple team sec, blue team sec. Clubhouse is also a good one to check out if you haven't already. It's just free information that we give out. We do it weekly. And then finally, I would say attend conferences. So networking, learn from people that are in the industry. Also importantly, if you connect with people on stuff like LinkedIn or Twitter, you can see what they're working on. And this kind of generates a trend or demand. You can start to see a pattern on what's trending in the industry, what the demands are in cybersecurity. You can see where the new initiatives are coming from. And that's kind of an indirect way of staying up to date and seeing where industry is going. And yeah, Feedly is my go-to.